What's good, y'all, man? It's your boy Flying Speaks. Okay, so this is typically a sports channel, but I talk about other things. I talk about whatever I want, man. My platform. So anyway, I just saw what came out of the Eazy, the Block Captain, and Cassidy battle. All right, a battle that was just hyped up for months. One of the best promoted battles I've seen, and the one thing that I will give Cassidy a lot of credit for is his ability to promote. Great promoter. This is going back to when he first battled, who was it, Hitman Holla. Probably one of the best promotional pieces he put forth. Same with when he battled, uh, well, I know there was Goods, there was Arsenal, right? He's the best. You put him on the table, and really, you see the Philly in him come out. Like he mastered the art of our dialogue. Sitting back, talking shit. It's not a whole lot of people that can outdo Philly dudes when it come to that. Maybe some Brooklyn guys, slick enough to talk, whatever, or Harlem guys. Harlem guys probably out of New York. They probably some of the slickest dudes. As far as sitting there and just talking a bunch of shit, you know, Kaz got that, right? And then also, he has the background of being signed to a major label, having a gold records, and I don't know if he went platinum or not, but I know he went at least gold. So when you got that behind you, you can kind of just come off real arrogant and speak down, and it serves him well. He has a good little fan base, all of that, so he's able to produce some money. And I just want to start off giving Cass, props and respect for that. Especially since I don't normally talk about battle rap here, though I've been an avid watcher of it, going back to the two Raw for Street days, when Reed and NH and, Kaboom and Frankie with the Grippers, and all of them was rapping. Also paid attention to the New York guys. Back then with Smack, old DVDs, man. They were talking about the battle between Murder Mook and J Mills, Loaded Lugs versus the boy from Detroit, Wes, and all of those different things. Just going back, Serious Jones, all that, right? So anyway, I feel like I'm in a unique position to speak on this. I'm from Philadelphia. That's what my whole platform is about. Philly this, Philly everything, and I was deeply troubled by what happened. Um, nice event being held. Typically, I don't go to those events and stuff like that, you know, because I understand like a lot of the young boys um, that attend these different events and stuff like that. I understand the type of gatherings those are, and those gatherings just don't quite do it for me anymore these days, right? When I was younger, I was all for that stuff. Now I'm not. I'd rather just chill, and watch. But I'm happy for them to put something like that on. But it was disappointing, man. It was disappointing. Um, all right, listen. Let me speak from a couple of angles. I understand the nature of battle rap, and what you want to do is you want to win on that day. So, what I feel like Cassidy did was Cassidy played the long game in this battle and prepared for this battle. I believe personally, and listen, I'm a person that met Barry. Okay, I'm talking about Cassidy way back in the '90s before he actually came out. Actually, he and I battled before. Okay, a couple of times. The first time was on Vernon Road. All right. Then I'm gonna explain it very thoroughly, just in case it ever gets to him, and he can act like he can deny it, because sometimes he gets a little weird like that. Because I've seen him after he got a contract, right? And I've seen him on the bus, and he's acting like he don't know me. Like he a little weirdo in some ways like that. When I knew he knew me, But anyway, we battled on Vernon Road. He was riding a bike. One time it was at night in front of the Chinese store over there on Vernon Road. He got off. Me and him battled. I had my boy Abdul with me. He battled him too, right? So that was a clear thing. I know other friends who buried him on Broad Downey because where Cassidy used to go to school was Central High School. It's right near Broad Downey. You got Girls High over there. You got Central, which is right down the street, right? So what he would do after school is walk up to Broad Downey and battle. All right. So I remember all them days, man. Uh, so this is what I feel like he was doing, just from my understanding of him, how he moved. Right, he playing a long game. He know that the boy Eazy is nice, who I'm gonna talk about in a minute, as far as like where he's from and all of that, right? So he knew that he was battling somebody that would not be an easy win for him. Cassidy also knows that he hasn't really been successful in these battles lately. Lost to Goods. He did beat Disaster. Lost to Goods. I guess he beat Hitman Holler. You know, um, and I am not going through all his battles, but overall, he hasn't had the success and the dominance that I'm sure would suit his standards for himself. So he knew this. Best way is to try to set the people up before the day of the battle. And he did this masterfully. So what he did was he played on this idea that Easy's kind of a guy that's a relative unknown in the city, right? He wasn't no big drug dealer as far as I know. Most of the hustlers and drug dealers, especially talking about Germantown, people like me know him, and other people that know him, family members that know him. So they played off of that. If Eazy is from Philly or spent significant time from Philly, he wasn't outside making a lot of noise. More than likely, like most of them guys ain't. Like most of them guys ain't. Like I mean, Reed talk crazy. Um, for little Frankie with the grippers, who I used to see all the time when I lived out southwest. I lived on um, Ridgewood Street. Okay. Um, I lived on Ridgewood Street, and in South Philly, I lived on uh, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the damn streets I lived on. I lived in so many damn places, right? Stanley Street. We had Corley's and then you had Stanley Street, right? I used to see Frankie with the grippers all the time. Little young boy. Be out there rapping, right? I ain't really speak to the guys was my young boys, for real. Like so I ain't really there's a couple of times I had to tell them to get off my blood, off my steps, smoking and all of that, little stuff like that. And sometimes they'd be shooting videos. I remember them. Um, so I kind of have a knowledge of these guys, and they ain't not no big hustlers out there, you know. Um, I mean, I could get into like times I met Shellyano, Hollow Man, all of them. You know what I mean? Because if we're not seeing each other in the street, we're seeing each other at the masjid, stuff like that. We're all part of not only the black community in Philly, but also the Muslim community. So it's kind of a little tighter knit than you might think normally, right? But my point is, they weren't that street either. Like most of the real hustlers from Philly, family members of mine and all that, they even did real years and did real time, or they even locked up now and did murders, all those different types of things. These guys are rappers. I'm just trying to set the tone, just keeping it 100. These guys are rappers, you know, which is cool, which is good actually. So Cass playing the long game. He knows if he could put it in the minds of enough people that's going to attend the place, that this dude is fronting, he's fraud, and he's not really from Philly. Fronting like he's kind of representing the city, but he's not really from here. He knows that could give him an advantage to win on that day. It's the way he operates, and strategically, I get that. I understand that. But what I must say is, what I don't like what happened is, I believe there's too many guys out there, too many young boys out there who, in my opinion, are kind of weak-minded enough for them to not see that it's a strategy on the part of Cass to win a battle, and they seeing it as like really something to really be emotional about and really be hateful about. Like you got a lot of guys out there that acting like they really hate Eazy, the Block Captain, like they really want to beat him up or stomp him out, as if he did something to them. When in reality, this is just battle. Some guys don't have the logic, don't have the maturity of mind to know how to separate the two, right? So I don't like the fact that a lot of what happened spilled over into that. I think what Cassidy did really backfired, in my opinion, because it led to what we had, a battle that was what, 1 round, 1.5 rounds, and not really taking place, right? And it's because of all this strategy he took. Um, you had others out there like Reed Dollars, another young boy out Southwest, um, who, from what it seemed like to me, based off of what they were saying online, had an issue with Eazy based on something that didn't have anything to do with Cassidy necessarily. Because Reed and Cassidy weren't particularly close. I mean, sure, they probably talk to each other, and then if it's time to kind of like stand next to each other to show some Philly solidarity, probably do little things like that. But if we talking about coming up through the 90s and the early 2000s and all of that, they weren't known to really associate with each other in any particular way, like that. So, I don't know what that was all about, where all the emotion is coming from. But it looks like there was a business deal between Eazy and Reed before, for the battle. I think where Eazy was set to battle Head Ice, which is a battle I would have loved to see. I would have loved to seen that if he could take on Head Ice. And Reed was supposed to battle someone on that card as well, and I think it fell through because Head Ice didn't show, or he canceled, and because of that, Eazy didn't see the point of going through with the battle because they were, they're the top cards. So why would you concede the undercards? It appears that Reed felt like he had disagreement with him, felt like he should have still got paid because he has plans, and I think not getting that money was going to put him in a bad situation. Understandable. I'm not even judging it. I'm just saying it seems like the way Reed really feels about Eazy got more to do with that money, than it does just whether or not he's really from Philly, born here, raised here, and all of that stuff. You know. So I'm saying all this to say, um, Eazy da Block Captain, unless somebody like saw his birth certificate, and or unless somebody came out from a place like Pottsville, which I never even heard of. Like, I knew about Pottstown, but I just recently had to look up Pottsville. It's only like an hour and a half from Philly, or whatever. Unless somebody got evidence of him really just being there all these years and then coming to Philly, I guess, as an adult. Um, I really don't get what the big deal about that is. Neither. You know, oh, he's a fraud, he's this, he's that. When really, like, we gotta be honest. When you talk about where we're from, that's all predicated on where our parents raised us, where our parents moved around and stuff like that. Like me, for example, I was born in Philadelphia, Temple Hospital, all of that. As a young child, up until the age of 9, I'm in Philadelphia. I'm going to Potter Thomas School in North Philly. You know, so 6 in Indiana. All of those different things. That's me. It's where I am. But at the age of 9, I had a tragedy in my family, which I had to go move with some relatives. So we moved to Lindenwold, New Jersey. I'm in Lindenwold, New Jersey for a few years out there. And then when I'm old enough, like we're talking about mid-teens, I come back to Philly, go to high school, Martin Luther King in Germantown. But even before I come back, I'm in Philly every weekend. You know what I mean? But I'm able to get me a little good education out there in Jersey, that sort of thing. That's like me rapping and a fool try to say I'm not really from Philly because I lived in Lindenwold for a couple years. It's that type of thing. You know what I mean? Which is like, absurd to me. But from what I understand from Eazy, that's what it seemed like. It seemed like he moved around when his parents moved around or whatever. But the point I'm really trying to make is that don't even really matter to me for real, for real. This idea that, rappers gotta be, authentic and only respected if they authentic blows my mind. That's like Reed Dollars thinking we really believe that he was carrying nines and, Berettas and backpacks and Rambo when he was 19 years old, 17 years old, rapping back on Too Raw for the Streets. Nigga, we know you wasn't carrying Glocks and all of that. You know what I mean? It's the same type of thing. It's like that's when with this idea that you had to really be doing what you're saying ain't true when it comes to rap, man. I mean, you can go way back to NWA, Ice Cube and them. Ice Cube was one of the scariest dudes in the world on the microphone. He wasn't robbing banks, unless you stupid enough to believe them stories. You think Cool G Rap really was doing some of the things he was talking about a thug love story? You think Cool G Rap really went to war with the Italian mafia and you know, what's that, on the run? Brother on the run? Like, you that stupid? You know, so I disagree with that. And what bothers me more and more about the situation is I understand the mentality of young boys in Philly. I was a young boy in Philly. I got sons that's in their early 20s, 19, 19, 20 in Philly. I got mad. I know I got nephews, everything. I know their mentality. And what's unfortunate to me, what's happening with Eazy the Block Captain, I believe it's a crab in the barrel mentality that's taking place in Philadelphia. You know, crab in a barrel, man. Like, you see one of us actually shining and becoming prominent in that thing. And really, I never had a problem with Eazy because I felt like Eazy always gave those brothers who rapped before him they props. I seen him give Hollow Man his props, big time. You know, Reed Dollars, he gave him mad props, man. He presented himself as, rap standing on their shoulders to do what he doing. Same thing with all of them guys, man. NH, Kaboom, Joey Jihad, Quilly, who I know for real back, what I mean, seen many times back Haines Street and all that, But I never felt like Eazy disrespected any of them through his rap, through the way he presented himself. And honestly, if these guys are smart, because Eazy's able to reach the prominence that he reached, it's better for them. It's better for them that he's still on top, because that way you can use him to get yourself up. If you want to battle, or if you want to do a podcast, or whatever you want to do, it's good that one of us is prominent, or more of us. But if it's just one, that becomes the top battler or top five battler in the world, in the opinion of most, got a big fan base. You should be using that to your advantage. You feel me? Like, whenever did any of us do anything in Philly where we got that many eyes? You can say E Ness, but I don't even know that E Ness reached that level where people were saying he was a top five. Maybe there's some who believe that, and I believe E Ness is cold, you know. Um, but a top five. I just don't like the way they did it. And then there's other elements to it that I really don't like, And I'm trying not to talk about that a lot because, it can get a little, personal. But the other thing is, most of these guys are claiming to be Muslims, took their shahada, you know, and I know it can be tough when you're Muslim and you have this standard that you're supposed to represent and live up to. We talk about the standard that the Prophet Muhammad has set, the Sunnah. This is the highest standard that there is. Guys walking around with beards, like I would, mine don't grow like that. But guys walking around with beards and everything else, pants above the ankles and the whole nine that everybody does in Philly, because most of those guys are adherent to the Saudi Salafi minhaj, okay, or that's the way that they adhere to. Most of them are adherent to those things, right? So when that's known about you, but you're going out there and you carry yourself in this way, and then you're not even showing unity or solidarity outwardly, those are things I personally don't like at all, But that's just me, you know. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I thought that was a bad look. Now Cassidy, back to him and Easy. Cassidy doesn't care. Cassidy, from what I understand, never took Shahada. Doesn't consider himself a Muslim. So that's kind of different. Even back then, when I knew him as B or Barry, before he was even calling himself Cassidy, he wasn't Muslim, but he hung with Muslims all the time. You know, because damn near everybody was taking this Shahada back in them days. You know, at the time. You know, um, I myself took it way before earlier than any of them. Um, I consider some consider me a little different because I actually went overseas and studied for a number of years. All right, I was able to learn the Arabic language, stuff like that. Um, Actually, was able to attend the Al University in Cairo, Egypt. Uh, Met many scholars, those types of things, studied at their hands, those things. So, uh, and I don't I don't adhere to the Salafi manhaj at all. I'm just Sunni, right? Maliki school. For those who understand what that means, that's my adherence, right? Um, I also have taken a tariqa in spirituality, those things. I feel like I understand where they're coming from, but you know, there's bigger, wider truth, and there's more knowledge out there that a lot of these guys know about. But whatever the case may be, they still my brothers as far as I'm concerned, and this is the reason why I even put these videos out talking about it. So I don't like to see that, man. I don't like to see Reed, who I know took shot, even though he's tattooing his face up and all that. Between him and his Lord, he doing those things. Um, I don't like that type of hostility with him. I just don't like to see it. You know what I mean? Um, and you have Freeway there, who has a good reputation in the community. You know, that's good. Gilly, the kid, having a good. Who has it pretty good? He's right now, man. Like really doing some good things for the city, putting it on for us really well, man. Shout out to him. Peace to him. Same with Freeway. You know, Beans. They all doing some good things, man. Even Oskino, man. Like I'm praying for you, bro. I'm praying, I'm making dua, a lot of dua for you, Oskino, for real. I'm not judging none of that. I just hope to not see, you know what I mean, what's happening, man. It's not the best, you know. Um, Hopefully though, but to speak on the battle, I'm gonna keep it real. From what I heard in the first round, I personally believe Easy won that first round easily. Now I'm seeing a lot of people say Cassidy won the first round. I don't see how, man. I do like the bar where he said, your mom's still dealing with rock or something like that, right? That was probably the hardest bar. Um, but there wasn't really a lot of bars. He was just talking. Some people like that, but I can't help but believe a lot of the people saying that Cassidy won, they're saying that out of a bias towards Easy. I believe that Cassidy's propaganda against Easy is what actually helped to put that in their mind already. That to them, no matter what Easy did or said, he was going to lose that battle in their mind. To them, you know, it don't matter. Because to me, Easy was that much better. For what it's worth, he was that much better in the rap. But if you out there being biased and you got this Philly pride, which I do got, I do have. I mean, it's the place of my birth, place where I've experienced all of the things, place where I met my wife, my kids, everything. Uh, so I have a love for it, but this idea that acting like you own the city is crazy to me. It's crazy, man. This city was established by William Penn, okay, a guy who the King of England was in debt to, okay, his father. And what he did was, in order, instead of paying the debt, he told him, no, you can take your ass across the sea and take some land from the people that was there. All right, which was Philly, I believe, was inhabited by the Navajo or the Algonquin, one of them. All right, they came over here, took the joint. Um, it was ran by gangsters like Benjamin Franklin, okay, and others. Later, who was the first mayor of the city, perhaps. Um, and so Philly represents a lot of good things. I can get into the historical part of it later, but like like you gonna die for it and fight for it and stuff, man. You can find something better to fight and die for, man. For real, live for. All right, especially if you Muslim, man. Mashallah. All right, so uh, wrap it up. Wrap it up real quick. All I was just saying was shout out to everybody. I ain't trying to make no enemies out of none of you young boys, you wild dudes. Even though I'm prepared for whatever, believe that. Not a street. I'm not a street guy, but I'm a jihadist. You know what I'm saying? Keeping 100. Um, and but the point is, I'm just trying to give advice and see how. Um, I believe Cassidy well orchestrated, and I believe he absolutely helped to shape the minds and the thinking of a lot of people going into the battle by putting this whole campaign against Eazy da Block Captain. That he not from Philly. That helped to get a lot of people on his side during the battle. And those people are going to see Cassidy won regardless, no matter what happened, no matter if he was whack, good or not. And it was almost a fight, didn't happen. Good, thankfully, everybody's safe. And then, hopefully they just finish it out later, man. Hopefully they just finish it out later. So that's my two. That's my 2 cents in it, man. I get with y'all later. Peace out.